Excellent. Cool, folks. Well, let's summarize a little bit of why we're here and what we're talking about. As you have seen from our announcement, we are rebuilding the way that we build forms. First big question you have to ask is why? Why would we do that? Well, one of the biggest ones is when you create a Give form currently, all you're actually doing is filling out a form to create another form. A whole big wall of form settings is what you have to navigate right now, and then hit publish in order to get your form. And while you're filling out those settings, you don't know exactly what your form is going to look like until you kind of hit publish and go take a look at it. It's a whole new world now with the block editor and the way that the web is quickly evolving and growing. And now it's very much more possible and expected even that you should have some sort of visual form builder, that we should be able to see what you're building as you're building it. So that's something that we've wanted to deliver for all of you for a really long time, and we're excited that it's finally underway. Another actual pain point that we hear from customers and users for a long time is that they would love to be able to add custom fields in different parts of the form or move fields to different areas to their liking. And while that is literally technically possible now, it's really not particularly easy and often not even particularly advised in Give currently. So we really wanted to be able to provide a lot more form field flexibility in our donation forms. And then the last one is we've been pumping out a few different form templates over the years, but it's a bit cumbersome to do that currently. And we would really love to be able to create all kinds of templates for you right out of the box so that you could choose from a library of different donation form styles to your liking and simply tweak and customize them a little bit and get running. So in order to do that, we really had to kind of do a bit of a revamp. So that's a big, those three things are the big reasons why. Jason, do you have any caveats or additions to make to that why?
Yeah, I mean, one of the big ones I really want to emphasize with the templating, on the one hand, we want to be able to make more templates so that when you are using Give, you can, get right out of the gate with something looking great. But on the other hand, like we see so many customers doing all sorts of really creative customizations with the form. You want to be able to tailor it to your site. And so the templating with this isn't just to make our lives be easier, but to make your lives easier. So you can make the form look exactly the way you want it to look in the end, without having to fight an uphill battle to get there. So it's really kind of a both and win-win situation that we are envisioning with the templating.
Yep, absolutely. Good point. I see a couple of new folks wandering in. If you are just getting in, great to have you here. We're talking about the why and the how of our new donation form builder really quickly, setting the stage before we show it off. If you just got in here, let us know your name and where you're from and what you do with Give. We'd love to hear about the causes that you are powering with GiveWP. So put that into the chat. Also, a quick reminder that we are going to be showing this off for sure to everyone, but I'm trying to keep it to like 25, 30 minutes tops so that we can use the rest of the hour for your questions and your input and your feedback. I really would love to hear as much from you as possible. We do have the Q&A area enabled for you to ask your questions as we go. So feel free to start populating that right away. We'll queue those up to answer as we're talking. Or you could feel free to ask your question in the chat too, whatever works. Be prepared. We're gonna put you on the spot. Linda, cool. Homeless shelter and resource center. Awesome. What part of the world is that, Linda? We'd love to know where you're at too. And Dana, sweet Mark, I'm a student volunteering for Green School, Green Future. Oh, that's so cool. Nice. In Canada. Nice. St. George, Utah. Linda, awesome. Thanks so much for being here, folks. So now, why are we building this with the block editor? That's another really good question that we tried to address in our announcement, but I want to reemphasize it here. The very first one is, by now, for almost pretty much any WordPress user that uses WordPress at all as an editor, it's a familiar interface. It's something that when you look at our form builder, you're going to be like, oh, I feel like I've seen this before. It shouldn't be like this, like, whoa, this is a crazy, weird, different thing. It looks like the block editor because it is. And it's not just pretending to be the block editor. It's actually built on top of it. Which brings us to the second one. The other reason why we're using the block editor is, it's the block editor's code name is Gutenberg. Well, Gutenberg is actually a very well scaffolded visual builder framework all by itself. And it's being continually improved and maintained by the WordPress core team. So a lot of the power behind it is stuff that we don't even have to build. It's being built for us, and we get to benefit from that. And that's the beauty of open source and the beauty of WordPress itself, is that we get to build on top of already great stuff. So that's two parts. The other one is just being able to get to done a lot more quickly. Honestly, Jason and I joke about it all the time. I'm not a full-blown developer. I'm dangerous when it comes to code. I can do it. I can make stuff happen. But I do happen to know that trying to just do that drag and drop kind of movements between different areas, that alone can be very, very complex to implement. It's really pretty ornery JavaScript that makes that happen, or React in Gutenberg's case. And just being able to inherit that out of the box enables us to not have to worry about that and just move on to other things that we feel are more important for our interface and our UI. So that's really helpful. And then the last one is, even though it is powered by Gutenberg, the way in which we're implementing it, and I'm going to ask Jason to expound on this a little bit in layman's terms, but the way in which we're leveraging Gutenberg, we actually get to still control the user experience that we want to have in the editor, and we also get to control the way the form is output on the front end as well. So Gutenberg is actually very opinionated about that when it comes to your default posts and pages and things like that. But there is a way in which you can integrate with Gutenberg that allows us to have that kind of flexibility. I don't know if I did that perfect justice. The last part I actually think is super cool, Jason. Can you expound on that just a little bit for everyone? You're muted right now at the moment, so.
I prefer hand gestures. But yeah, Gutenberg, a lot of people don't realize is, we think of it as like the block editor. It's like one thing, but but the block editor is actually broken up into like 50 different libraries, like little bitty packages that you can piece together however you want. So it's not like we're taking this big old block editor and we're kind of hacking it to pieces to make it work exactly the way we want. But the block editor actually already comes in this like disassembled form, where you can put it together the way that you want. And that's exactly what we're doing, is taking the pieces that are right for us and putting it together so that it still feels and truly is the block editor, but is assembled in exactly the way that we think works best for us, where we're wanting to help somebody make a form as opposed to make a page or a blog post.
Nice. Cool. Thanks so much for that, Jason. So I'm going to get into showing it off, show and tell, live demo time. And as I said previously, we do have the Q&A area open, so feel free to start populating your questions in there right away, and we will be answering them as we see them come in, or feel free to ask your questions in the chat, whatever works best for you. But here is the fun, exciting part. If I can, here we go. Boom. Let me see, hold on. Yes. Here it is. Like I said, when you get here, you're like, oh, excellent. That looks like the block editor. And that's exactly what it's supposed to feel like. What I like is the way in which we've customized a bit of the look and feel. There's a nice grayish background and rounded corners here. It feels nice and clean. There's still some work to do in general. Of course, we're still very much in alpha, we would say, but we've come a long way already. So just like you would expect in Gutenberg, when you click into text areas like this, all of this stuff is editable. And you'll notice that when I edit it over here, it actually gets edited, updated over here as well. And here's our familiar multi-level options here. You'll notice that this is actually another block. When I click in here, you see the block settings change immediately, and you can delete. And you can add, because we all know these are the more logical amounts that everybody wants to give. Of course, it can go on a lot if you need to. That's the great beauty of the block editor, is being able to really customize that and add what you need to here. Can you add donation descriptions? Curtis is coming out with a good question right away. Jason, that is the intention and the plan, right? That we'll be able to add descriptions to these levels.
Yeah, we're exploring right now kind of how we want that to work, but yes, that is very much on our radar.
Yep. Nice. Coming down here, we have same things, and then the name field, very similar in terms of how our give options are today. You have prefixes here that you can enable or disable. You see that when you disable them, it goes away right away. Or if you want to add your own, you can add them. Something like that. I forget how you pronounce it. Monsieur. But it appears in the drop-down as it should. First name. Oh, we got first name and first name here. Interesting. Last name.
You're changing your placeholder there.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I see. the placeholder of the first name label. Yep.
Yep, exactly.
You can make this required, of course, last name required or not. Email address is another one. Nice, make it required. And you know what? Honestly, let's just say, generally speaking, when it comes to like cart abandonment and things like that, folks are often saying, let's take their email first and their name later. We can do that, right? Boom. I love it. I'm jumping ahead. Last section we have here is the payment details. This one is definitely still a work in progress, but you can see how the different levels are going to be available here. And this is kind of a preview of what that will look like. Got another question coming in. Will fields in the Who Are You section be auto-populated based on payment plugin requirements? I believe what you're asking is like, I'm not totally sure what that question means. Based on payment plugin requirements. Oh, if Stripe requires a country field or whatnot. Down here in the payment area. Yes, all of these payment gateways operate the same way that they operate today in GiveWP. Cool, that's a bit of it. Also, when it comes to other types of form settings that we do have this form area that form settings are broader than any one particular field. So you'll see the form title, for example, is up here. Something like that. Right now, these settings don't impact the form right now, but we want to make sure that we have them here because they are the plan, but they don't make any immediate changes currently. But you're all familiar, if you've used Give already, with enabling donation goals and our auto close feature and the goal amount. All these are available. Enabling or disabling offline donations. and also several different form field options as well. So these are all here for now. They don't impact the form on the front end currently, but that's of course coming later. So that's some of the basics here. The next things I really want to highlight that I'm excited about are, because it's the block editor, you have the ability to add your own blocks. So let's say I'm down here in the what's your name area. I'm gonna add one block that's really popular or necessary sometimes in GiveWP is a company field. So let's make sure that we ask them what company they represent. That gets added there, no problem. And we'll make that required just for fun. The great thing about it is this is a special field in the donation form that does populate the donation meta in a special way, and we don't want to be asking this multiple times. So essentially, once this is here, let's say we go down here to payment area, or up here, and we want to add, oh, maybe let's add company name again. Well, you can't. It's grayed out because we already have it in the form. We don't want to be adding that multiple times. So that's a nice protective feature there. But the other one that is here and available now is, let's add a text field, a simple text field like t-shirt size, or tell us about your favorite color. Why not? Like beige. Everyone likes beige, right? The custom fields are going to be available like this in the core plugin. Actually, we're talking and navigating through exactly how to do that best between which fields are going to be available in the free plugin and which will continue to be available in our form field manager add-on. But we're excited to be able to bring more field flexibility to the free plugin. So this is one really great way to do that. So currently, of course, with text fields and whatnot like this, you can add as many as you like here, a whole bunch. Now, keep in mind, of course, you're probably slowing your donor down a little bit with adding a whole bunch of fields, but sometimes they are necessary. And in the free plugin, of course, there'll be more additional options like a radio or drop down, things like that. And there's going to be some things like a paragraph field. And I want to show also in Gutenberg, another way to add blocks into your editor area is with this left-hand sidebar. So come over here and you can see all the blocks that are available. And you can see the ones that are grayed out are because they're single fields that are necessary or need to only be in there one time, like the donation summary one. If we delete that donation summary, then you can see it gets available again here. And we can just grab it and drag it in here. There it is. Or if we really want to really describe this a bit more, we can grab the paragraph field. Yeah, so paragraph fields are definitely going to help you to be able to explain things more clearly in your form. We're excited about that. This is, of course, a default field available in Gutenberg, and we're able to surface it here in our editor. Another great thing is, let's say it's really important, you feel like you really want to really ask about who they are first before anything else. You can do that. Just move the whole section up. It's excellent. Of course, it probably doesn't make a lot of sense to be putting payment details up further, but you do have the ability to move these sections around. You also have the ability, if you want, to create a custom section. Now you have a custom section here. Right? Maybe you're having an event and you want to ask questions about their food preferences. Yep, short description, text field. Maybe you have several text field questions. All here in this custom section. Cool. Jason's been staffing the comments really well. I just want to catch up a little bit for others who might be watching the recording. Stacy says blocks can also be moved up and down on the page. Yep, I hope I showed that pretty well. Curtis says, will the fields you add be able to be joined to donor reports? Jason says yes to Stacy, or Curtis says, or if you export all donations, can you have the field you add in the who are you in that export? Jason, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure I understand the who are you? Yeah. So don't go into the weeds. Part of what we're doing with the custom fields is there'll be a simple toggle to determine like, does this information belong as part of the donation or does it belong as part of the donor? So when somebody fills it out, it determines where it gets stored. And then that will,
like the company field, for example, a company field goes to the donor.
Exactly. Email goes to the donor, name goes to the donor. But then like favorite color might just be a part of that donation as opposed to the donor for, for whatever reason. And then later that'll determine how it gets presented. So in the admin side, if you're looking at the donation data will be presented there. The donor data will be presented there, but you have the ability to control on a per field basis where that data goes.
Excellent. That sounds great. Cool. So another one, a feature of Gutenberg that is really useful, especially if you have forms that get really long or complex, is this list view navigator over here. Generally speaking, we find that our forms are really broken up into three major sections: donor information, donation amount, and payment details. You can see there's also that custom section. And if you need to find one particular thing, you can use this list view to easily navigate around through the form. You could see how, as I click on it, if it's not in the visual area, it jumps down into there so that you can get there really quickly. It's a really useful feature of Gutenberg that's actually in your page edit and post edit screens as well, that sometimes gets overlooked, but it's really useful with these forms as well. So cool. Jason, we have a great question here from Brad about custom fields and things like that, he's really highlighting a little bit of what we talked about in the beginning, that form fields are a little bit inflexible at the moment. Do you want to address that question?
Yeah, I'm reading it like twice now. I want to make sure that I understand the question. I'm not sure. So basically, like, if it seems like something's out of view, I can't tell if what you're saying, Brad, is whether like if a form error occurs, like they have to scroll up, or is it are you using like the stripe modal? I'm just not sure what's like out of view.
Yeah, like on the multi-step form, if you get to the end and there's an error on a previous step, it gets a little bit cumbersome. You're trying to submit the donation, but the error is on a different step. But that's one aspect. Or also with the classic form is really tall. The error might be outside of the view of the window.
Oh yeah, okay, so yeah, credit card model's out of view. Okay, so yeah, yes, in short, like a big thing we're doing right now is like we're talking a lot about the form builder. We're also completely rebuilding how forms are rendered and even function on the front end, and as part of that, like things such as how data is shared throughout the form, or validation, meaning like if somebody enters something wrong and they hit donate, how that's presented to them, or things like the modal field, that sort of a thing. Like it's all being given a totally fresh look and being rebuilt. So like there's a lot of existing issues right now that are frankly just very hard to address. that doing a rebuild is allowing us to address on a more fundamental level.
Hmm. One thing I do want to highlight too, because sometimes when folks hear the word rebuild, it can be a little bit scary, or like as if we're going to push like a whole bunch of crazy things all in one big push. One thing that I think that Jason has been really excellent in helping to orchestrate is that we've actually been rebuilding the way forms are built and rendered secretly for a long time, actually. So a lot of the internals of how this new way of building forms and rendering forms has actually been slowly in progress already, and it's already in GiveCore in many ways. We mentioned that in the blog post that the Fields API is a really important one. A Payment Gateway API has been renewed. So a lot of these things have really paved the way to make sure that this migration to the new form builder is smooth and easy. That's another part of why we're releasing it all in the way we're doing. So
one other thing to note there, so I know it's like new things can be really scary, so we want to make sure it's like as exciting as possible, but being as little scary as possible as well.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
like we've talked a lot about migration, right? So like you have 10 forms today, and then we release Give 3.0 with all this new cool stuff, and you're like, I'm terrified to click update because it's going to destroy everything. It won't, we promise. The way that the migration is going to work is you get to choose which forms you want to migrate and when. You can test it out. And it's going to be done in such a way where if you migrate a form and there's a problem, you didn't lose your old one. It just made a new one for you. So we know that your form's working is so critical that we're making sure that we are not going to somehow compromise the integrity of your forms on your site. So moving forward should be a safe process.
Yeah.
So yeah, just wanted to kind of address that as people are thinking, imagining their old forms in their head in this new way. And like, how would I do that? Well, maybe you don't have to immediately. So
Yep.
take your time.
Excellent. Good clarification. We got a couple questions here, but I want to jump real quick to the design mode. So one thing you don't see here is there's going to be a button, and it kind of addresses Stacy's question about design of the form. So up here you see the publish button, and you see some settings here. There's going to be a button right next to it called design mode, and I just want to show you our design of design mode, which we don't have it built out, but it's here in our editor, our design app called Figma. So here's the button, and right now it says exit design mode because currently you're in design mode here. And a couple of things we did here is make sure that this header area changes to a different color. You're really switching the whole mode of the editor. Over in this one, we're in edit mode here. And we're editing the structure of the form for the most part, and a bit of how the fields work in particular, and how many fields we might want, and how many sections we might want. But when you toggle over to design mode, you're seeing the template, and you can see over here the donation form template. You can see that you'll have the ability to choose different templates right here, and as you choose them, the editor in the middle will update and show you what your farm looks like in that other template. And I'd love for all of us to imagine that there might be, dozens of different templates available to you if you like, or maybe you might be able to go through a little marketplace of templates and download the one that you want and be able to just drop it in here. So form templates are a big aspect of what we're excited about. And you can see that while you're in edit mode here, there is actually some very design-oriented settings that we'll have available. And that these settings, similar to how the template settings are today, when you choose Classic, there's a specific amount of settings available to you, like the main heading where it says support our cause, or the description. And then the header image. The header image in Classic goes behind this whole area with the accent color being a bit opaque. But with multi-step, the image is actually full and by itself, not behind everything else. So each of these templates will have settings that will impact how the form looks visually in different ways. Down here, you could see how you can choose your header background color with the Gutenberg color picker, template style being boxed or not boxed, and your fonts, whether you want that secure donation badge to appear or not. All these different types of visual settings that really let your form stand out and look the way you want it to look. So really excited about design mode, and that's going to be in a future release at some point. Cool question. I hope I addressed Stacy's question a little bit. Jason, we haven't talked much about images as a custom field. I'm throwing you totally on the spot because we haven't really talked about it much, but not you and I haven't, but maybe you and Debs have. Are images going to be a custom field we might consider?
Yes.
Or a custom block?
Yeah, they are something that we might consider is probably the safest way of putting that. There's a lot of like the design oriented pieces are going to be done in design mode, and that's really actually going to be determined by the template. So Matt, if you go back to design mode for a second there. So the template that is being looked at here is classic. You can see on the right side where it says classic. And classic has its own unique design stuff. So for example, if you're aware with classic now, you can actually set a background image. So where it says support our cause, the background image can be something completely different, could be set there. And so templates not only have the ability to determine how a form looks, but they also have the ability to be adjustable. So as we make our own templates, we're going to have settings that come along with those templates so that you can adjust them however you want. That's where a lot of like the design oriented images, videos, that sort of a thing is going to happen. In the form builder, we're really trying to make it focus more on how your form should work.
Nice. Excellent. Cool. Last thing I want to show super quick before we turn over to a lot more questions is just the front end. Let me see, make sure I publish these changes. Tell us about your favorite color, like beige. And on the front end here is a form that looks very much like classic. I'm going to refresh the screen to get the right updates. Yeah, so we can see already that section got moved up to the top. Oh, we're missing our placeholder, so that's an interesting little quirk. The email address is up here. There's a couple little quirks. Email and first and last name, that's all good. Company, yep, okay, cool. Here's our custom section right here, and you'll notice how Jason was saying about the form template. You could see here that I didn't set anything about this gray background text color behind this custom section. That's inherited from the template itself. Here's our custom text fields that I added. How much do you want to donate today? With all my fun, weird amounts. Yep. Here's our payment details with the donation summary up here up top. And then we have some test gateway and donating with Stripe here as well. Nice. Excellent. Great work, Jason. Cool. Yeah. Couple things. Brad is asking an excellent question about testing for these types of things. There's a couple things I want to say about that in particular. And that is specifically that one way in which we are rolling out the next-gen form builder is, as I kind of hinted to a little bit earlier, is not all in one big giant push. So what we're doing first is we're going to make available the plugin as essentially like an add-on. It's not going to be in Give Core directly. It's going to be available for you to download and for you to install it wherever you'd like to install it and test it out and see how it goes. We would heavily recommend, since this is alpha or beta software, that you install it somewhere safe, not on your live donation site for now. And that way you'll get more familiar with it and see how it works and see how it does. And most importantly, you'll be able to give us your feedback too and say, hey, I really like this. This one is a little bit weird. Most of you are probably familiar with our feedback site, feedback.givewp.com. We'll be having a custom board there available just for next gen feedback. So watch for that for sure. And after we have it available as a zip download for a while and we get more development on it and we get more feedback on it, we start to feel more comfortable, we're then eventually going to release it to WordPress.org as a free plugin, as a free add-on essentially to GiveWP. And that's really to get a lot more exposure of this great new feature without it being merged into the core plugin. So again, it's a separate plugin. It's available. We'll be able to see how much adoption it's getting in terms of active installs and things like that. And eventually, when we get enough feedback and it gets mature enough and it's stable enough, it will then be brought into WordPress core. And through all of that process, one thing that we have been working on a lot is a new QA process in which we are putting all of our releases through. And I'm really proud of Jason and Ben Meredith, who's not here today, but Rick has been here. He's on our support team. They have done a lot of great work on improving the way in which we do all of our Q&A, quality assurance of all of our releases. So with all those things in mind, and even as Jason mentioned, even when the next gen form builder is available in core, you'll still have that feature that Jason was talking about where you'll have all of your legacy forms and you'll have the ability to convert them to a new form if you want, but you don't have to. They'll still function. And in that conversion, you can then disable or set to draft the old forms as things start to work. So lots of really smart and good, safe ways to be able to implement this on your website without any damage at all. Cool. Questions have slowed down quite a bit. I might throw somebody on the spot. We actually do have Kyle Johnson here. Kyle, can you give us a wave? Are you still around? Or a little heads up in the chat. I'm gonna, maybe if you're here.
John Waldstein's here too.
Oh, John, let's see. Who waves first? Who chats first? Kyle is here. All right, Kyle beat him to it. Kyle, I'm gonna hit the allow to talk. Kyle, I'd love to hear your take on Next Gen Form Builder. He's one of our developers working hard on this. So Kyle, tell us what you think.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, man.
Awesome. Yeah, so building the next gen form builder has been a lot of fun. It's allowing us to do a lot of things that we've wanted to do in the past that have been difficult. One example, like the donation summary, is a feature, one of the first things I worked on actually when I joined Give. And with the multi-step form at the time, implementing the donation summary took me a solid week, and each day fixing some little bug with some template and some add-on combination. Whenever we added it to the form builder here, it was 10 minutes, and I think that even includes looking up documentation that John had written for some stuff in our custom code, so it was much faster. Building's been a great experience. The Gutenberg team is really responsive. We're able to submit bug fixes and get them merged and reviewed quickly, so they're very cooperative and collaborative. I'm a particular fan of the customization allows you to have on the form, like having those sections in different places. I think is just a huge feature.
Yep.
And from the Ninja Forms world, it's nice to see the Give form building evolve in this direction with this much flexibility and customization.
That's awesome. Awesome, Kyle. Thanks so much. We also have, hey, we actually have Devin Walker himself here. Devin, can you give us a hi? Are you available? Can I promote you to, there he is. Check this out. Come on board, man. Hey. Devin Walker, how's it going, man?
Going well.
What do you think? What do you think of this awesome form builder our team is building?
Yeah, so this first iteration that we're showing off to the world is kind of a nice sneak peek of the whole, plan that we have ahead for Give 3.0. I think Matt showed some of the Figma file that showed some of the design mode, some of these more advanced features that we're looking forward to. But yeah, we're really excited about it. Envision a lot of flexibility here to change fields around, update the labels within the fields, the placeholders, as you've already seen. That's kind of the first layer of it. Going into it, imagine a future where you could add blocks that were created by third parties, blocks that are native to Gutenberg that we allow into this donation form building ecosystem. So there's a lot here that's a good foundation for the road ahead. The ability to distinguish whether a field and the data submitted by that donor is attributed to the donation payment or the donor meta itself. So we're trying to bring some of these new, more CRM donor management features alongside it as well. Matt kind of shed some light on this earlier is, a lot of times we're tempted to add a lot of fields prior to the actual giving of the donation, and it's not best practice, like similar to a checkout experience. You don't want to add friction prior to accepting a payment, in this case, a donation. So we're down the line experimenting with the ability to add post-donation fields, whether that's on the receipt step prior to receiving the receipt. So you can ask things like, okay, what's your t-shirt size if it's a golf fundraiser? You probably can ask that before, but it's better to ask it after you give, after they've committed to a tea time or whatever. Ask those follow-up questions later on so you can get them quickly to the giving or whatever, whether they're buying a ticket for a fundraising event, and how this integrates with our other add-ons like our peer-to-peer one, which actually is getting a big update today release. So lots of things planned ahead on this, lots of great concepts. Good shout out to our UX UI designer, Jeffrey. He's been doing a great job on that. And Kyle and John and everybody on the development side. So that's all I got to say, Matt.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, man.
Thank you.
Amanda, I want to bring you up next. Sorry, Devin, I'm going to kick you out because make space. If it'll let me, there we go. Amanda, can you give me a wave? Are you here? You ready to jump on? Yay.
Hey there.
Hey there.
Hi.
Totally surprised. None of these folks knew that I would be throwing them out in the spotlight at all. So thanks for humoring me. Amanda, I really wanted to close it out with hearing from you. How you hear from our customers every single day. You hear what they love and what they don't love so much. How do you feel about these changes that are coming in the new donation form builder? And how do you think folks are going to respond to it?
I am just so excited to see this new generation and to see what foundation it's going to build for the future of Give. And we're really listening to everything that our customers have to say. So all of it is being used to inform this next phase of Give, which is just really cool to see because it's an effort across our entire team. being able to put insights from our customers all the way through to development is really awesome to witness. And I know that folks are going to love the flexibility, the options for customization, and it's really just going to open up the opportunity to fundraise in so many new ways in such a quick, easy process. I'm excited to see it.
Cool. Thanks so much, Amanda. I'm excited too. All right, kicking you out. Ready? Boom. All right, everyone. There are no open questions anymore. I'm seeing chat slowing down. Thank you all so much. We are going to be following up with all of you who registered for the town hall today with some additional info, specifically how you can actually go to a website and see the editor for yourself already. You won't be able to download it and install it anywhere, but you will be able to see it and test it out, get hands-on experience already. So watch your email for that. That'll be coming tomorrow sometime. We're really excited for getting this in front of all of y'all and for hearing more about your impressions and your hopes and your dreams and your aspirations with forms. You know, we can't promise a lot when it comes to peace in the Middle East or other things like that, but as far as donation forms go, we're really trying our best.
I addressed the question that Curtis just raised.
Sure.
Pretty interesting. So he's asking, he has his list of 200 student names, and he's thinking like, could I put it in a drop down, you know, on the site? You know, the way you'd want to do something like that would be like with a special kind of drop down where it doesn't literally just try to throw 250 names in front of the person, but like somebody can search for the name. And I answer that, like there are searchable drop downs. One, we may very likely ship with something like that, but two, it's actually going to be a very simple process of like, let's say that you have a piece of UI like that you want to add yourself. You want it to be something that you can use in the form builder and you want it to show up on the front end. Well, like that's going to be very possible, and we're going to have that documented of it. If there is a particular kind of UI element or something that you want in the form builder that's not there, you can build that, you can make that so that you can make things like that possible. So even if we didn't do it, you can do it. And I actually just added a block myself yesterday, and it took me like an hour, and it's going to be even more polished when we get it out. So yeah, answer to that is yes, that would be a great way to do that stuff.
Cool. Well, again, Jason, thanks so much for being here, all your hard work on this great new form builder. Thanks everybody for being here. We will follow up, see you in email, and just keep watching your email and our socials for all the updates that are coming. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye.